Okay, hello there. So this is my second day in Kurdistan, my first full day of working. And as usual for my trips, by 3 o'clock in the morning, I was downstairs reading because I just can't sleep. And I know that this is going to go on for a number of days. So by the end of the day, I'm going to be exhausted. But it's good to be here. Anyway, so today I went to Camp 2. Um, ADRA, which is the Adventist Help organization, this NGO that I'm with, besides being with Global Outreach Doctors, um, the Adventists have 5 camps here, and this was one of them. This one has a special grant, and it's to work with families who have been traumatized. And so they have a Kurdish psychologist, Sarah, who is quite impressive. She got her master's in Iraq in clinical psychology, and then her doctorate in Amman in psychiatry. So she really knows her stuff. And she dresses very stylish, and she wears a lab coat. And I compare that to American psychologists who may wear blue jeans and maybe wear socks, and much more casual. And I think her style is very effective because it presents a statement of I am very well trained, I have status, I'm a professional. And when you have people living in camps, I think it's important for them to know that they didn't just get the equivalent of a public defender, that they're getting real care from a real professional because they deserve it, they're worthy. And so I was impressed because she's really well received by both the parents and the kids. She might be someone who exudes professionalism, but she's also very warm, and the kids really like her company. Anyway, so she was seeing some individuals, and then she did some groups that I observed. For me, this was more of a practicum day. I was shadowing, and that's really okay. But she, in her groups with the parents, had 2 messages, and one was that when you're seeing symptoms in your kids, nightmares or bedwetting or anxiety, don't assume that it's always psychological. And first of all, if it is psychological, don't assume that there's a pill for it. That pills come with baggage. They have side effects. They may not be appropriate for very young children. They're expensive. You might not be able to get them. And so she was really stressing that pills are not by themselves are not the answer. But the other thing is that some of these symptoms may look like trauma or depression, but could also be symptoms of other illnesses, physical illnesses. And so she was also stressing that you need to have your child treated holistically and get them to a doctor as well, a physician. So that was the first message. The second one was more of you guys have to tell us what you want us to know. We don't live in the camps you do, and so if there's things that you're not getting that you need, or issues that need to be addressed, or concerns that you have, you need to let us know. And I was impressed with how the parents weren't giving like 1 or 2 sentences. I mean, they were really talking. They really had a lot to say. And then she had the children play afterwards, and they played for almost an hour. They had these kind of very large kind of Lego things in there on the floor, and they were all playing together. And there were about 22 children, and for the most part, it was parallel play. They played alongside one another, but there wasn't a lot of interaction. For some of them, there was interactive play, and it was only near the last 10 minutes that there was any conflict. And so I was impressed because that was telling me that these kids are getting a lot of needs met by their parents for attention and structure, and it was really clear. And I've worked at other camps where the anxiety level with the children are constant, so that was good to see. I also made 2 friends, these 2 brothers who really liked me and spent time with me, and then this little girl who kept making faces at me, and that was kind of cool. Anyway, so the clinic is sponsored in part through the Czech Republic. It's in a compound that has a bunch of other clinics, including a Red Crescent clinic. And then I got a tour of the camp, and there are 5,000 in this camp. This is very different than the camp I was at in Jordan. These are tents. They're small tents, low tents, not very big at all, right on the dirt ground. It's extremely hot, so nobody can be in their tents right now, so they're outside, and they're using anything they can get for shade. It's just really bad. um, and the people, when they arrived, they had only what they could carry, and so they have maybe a change of clothes, really no furniture. There's just nothing in these. It's barren existence. And so as we're going through the camps, we went past the school, and it's again barbed wired, and it's all these. The school consists of multiple tents, and that's through UNICEF. And then we went past a food distribution place, and it was a great big semi that had brought in bulk levels of food, and there was just tons of people in line waiting, and guards there, and some people were laying under the truck because it was shady, and that was cooler than being out in the heat. And so I got to see the camp and just how hard it would be, how Zaatari looks palatial compared to this place. This is really barren and depressing, but not as depressing as being in a city held by ISIS, or Daesh, as they say here. Both coming into camp and leaving, went through a town that had totally been destroyed by ISIS 3 years ago, and just seeing, roofs collapsed and walls blown out and doors that were just burnt beyond recognition. It was really sad. Driving here, the guards stop you, and so you have to present your passport. And so I'm a good traveler. I always have it with me. But these are not the Iraqi federal forces. This is the Peshmerga. The Kurdistan forces. And Peshmerga means those who face death, and this is the most secure part of Iraq. And so when I was at the camp, I was about a 20-mile drive from Mosul, which is a scene of great fighting right now, and felt totally safe where I was at, and going to stay in those safe places. Anyway, so I got a sense of the work that they do here, or we do here. The rest of the team were out in other camps doing medical things. When I got back to the house, I was presented with a case where I'll probably go to a person's home and meet with a young girl who, when she was in Mosul with her family, a bomb hit the house and the entire house collapsed, and it collapsed around her. She wasn't injured, but there was no light. There was just heaviness and the whole house on top of her. And so, she's got a lot of anxiety. And so I'll be seeing her. I won't be taking any pictures of her. Yeah, you might have seen that I had pictures of the two boys. That's because their mom worked with ADRA, the agency I work with, and they wanted their picture taken. She wanted their picture taken. She just didn't want her picture taken, so I was able to respect everybody and make everybody happy. But if I'm seeing a kid, or if I'm seeing anybody, their pictures are not going to be posted. Anyway, so starting to learn a little bit about Kurdish history and culture, and I asked one of our workers, I said, can you really tell by looking at somebody if they're a Kurd or an Arab? I said, because I can't. I said, I look at the people at the camp and they all look Arab to me. And he smiled and he said, well, that's because in this camp, 90% of the people, at least 90%, are Arab. So I was like, okay, so I got it. But I don't really have it. I feel like the learning curve is going to be steep, but exciting and interesting. So anyway, that's it. Tomorrow I will start, I think, seeing clients myself with a translator. And I think that's probably all for right now. So take care. Talk to you later. Bye.